Hello, my name is Leona Moore, and some of you might be wondering if you should teach in South Korea or China. Well, I'm here to answer that question because I have experience teaching in both countries now. From my personal opinion, it really depends on what you are looking for. The easier country to adapt to and to adjust to is going to be South Korea. It's easier to get a visa here. The medical is better. And the life is easier to adjust to for multiple reasons. One is you don't need a VPN to use things like Google Maps. They have a map called Naver, which makes navigating South Korea really easy, and it's in English. You can download it in English, so you can navigate South Korea very easily. From my personal experience, there are apps in China, but I didn't know about many of them, and many of them are in Chinese. So when I was in China, I was literally going old school with just like addresses written on paper and walking around asking strangers. And to be honest, that made my experience in China a lot more enjoyable because I had to interact with citizens in China to get around. And it made my experience feel more intimate. In South Korea, I've pretty much just been using my Navier map, and it works wonderfully. But because I don't need to ask for help navigating, I don't even try to talk to locals usually. And because of that, I do feel a little bit more isolated and alienated in South Korea than I did in China. Now, granted, I also came to South Korea during the coronavirus, like right as the pandemic was happening. Like I came here in the end of March, beginning of April 2020 to South Korea, basically. So I'm sure coming to a country when it's quarantining and schools are canceling didn't help my experience. I'm sure I started off really rough in South Korea. But considering I did come here during the coronavirus and I'm telling you that South Korea is easier, that means, yeah, South Korea is easier. So, like, if you're looking for a country with the least amounts of challenges, I would pick South Korea. It's easier to navigate here, and technically, the Korean language is easier to learn. If it's your first language for me, learning Mandarin is easier to learn than Korean because I already have an exposure to Mandarin and I already have an ear for Mandarin. So for me, learning Mandarin is easier. But technically Korean language is easier to learn. So if you haven't already been studying a language, it's going to be easier to pick up Korean. The visa process, I think, is a little bit smoother in Korea too, but the requirements to teach in South Korea or China are very similar. I do think it's immigration is a little smoother in Korea. This is where teaching and China is going to win. You can easily make $1 to $2 grand more in China teaching, and that's a lot of money because you got to be, because like it really depends on what you want to do. Like if you want to just go somewhere, like both options are good because like one, you can get free rent or housing allowance in both South Korea and China. So both options are good for a young person because like I know when I graduated in America, the first job I had, I think it paid $14 an hour, and I was happy about that. But take out taxes, then I was paying rent by myself. Like so, my rent with utilities was like $800 a month, and like I was struggling to make it in America, and like there were times like I was at McDonald's and I was so stressed about money that like I got out of line. Like literally hopped out of line. Like I got there and I was like, $5 is too much. And like, and basically I've never, ever since I've taught in China or South Korea, it's not like I'm rich. And it's not even like I'm necessarily saving a lot of money. But like I don't sweat bullets standing in line at McDonald's. So both of them are a good option for a young college graduate because you don't have to pay rent. And which means whatever your salary is decent. you know, but like money wise, yes, teaching in China is better. It's going to give you more money. I think that the transportation in both South Korea and China are good. It's going to be a little cheaper in China, I believe. And the thing about China is it's bigger, so there's more to see, more to do. And like if you like more adventure, I would say pick China all day. But if you like more security, more stability, and more comfortability, pick South Korea. If you like things that have a more Wild West vibe, pick China. Like to me, China has like this progressive energy because it's not fully developed. Like you know, like so how I feel in China is like I could get rich here. Like I really feel like I could run my own business in China, and a lot of foreigners do. And like to me, like China has this energy of anything is possible. Like it's possible to get rich. Like it's possible to fall in love. It's possible to start your own business. Like to me, China has this energy of anything's possible. Like whereas in South Korea, I don't really feel like anything is possible. Maybe it's because I'm not that familiar with it and I haven't spent as much time in Korea as China, but I don't really feel like anything is possible. And a part of that is because the country is already developed, whereas China is still developing. And also like in South Korea is a very play by the books country. Like no one really breaks the rules in South Korea. And like China is a country of many rules, but everyone breaks them, you know, like so it has like this Wild West vibe, you know, like so like I like China more than Korea because of its entrepreneurial spirit. There seems to be a lot more entrepreneurs, people doing their own thing. And like when you have a massive country like China, like the market is just better. Like there's more opportunity in China, like even for jobs. Like, you know, one of the things about South Korea is it's a little bit smaller than the state of Ohio, so it's a very tiny country. And it's saturated. It's populated. Like I think there's like 6 times the amount of people in South Korea than in Ohio. So like if you know what Ohio is or any of the states, like imagine you're in any of the states and there's 6 times more people in it. And like if you think the job market in your state is already hard, imagine 6 times the amount of people. So like and so South Korea is sort of known for having this problem where it's hard for young people to find work. And like, you know, obviously, I like the teaching market in South Korea is not as good as the teaching market in China. Now, like you're gonna find work in South Korea as a teacher, but I don't think the jobs are as good and as professional, and I don't think the pay is as good and as professional. Like for instance, in South Korea, you're gonna need a master's degree to work at the universities, and you're actually going to get paid less or the same than as if you were working at the kindergartens, where in China you need just a bachelor's degree and it's going to be a much better job. Like so the requirements you need to be a professor in South Korea are higher and you don't even get paid more, you know. Like so yeah, there's definitely more opportunities for a young person in China. And then China's just hustling and bustling. Like if you ask me, even though Korean is an easier language to learn, it would be more valuable to learn Mandarin because it's a more dominant force. China's a more dominant force than Korea ever will be because Korea's a little country. Like so to me, like Korea has this vibe of it's already peaked, where China has this vibe that it's going to continue to go and go. And like so like it depends on what you want. If you want comfort and stability, again, South Korea. If you want a challenge and the potential to be rich, the potential to be an entrepreneur, like yeah, I think China really has this vibe. And like I feel like I want to say a couple more things, and I'm missing what I want to say. Maybe we'll just come back and make a new video. I'll look at what I said in this video and I'll get back to you guys. Have a great day. But yeah, it depends on what you want. I personally would pick China, but South Korea is for people who want something a little easier, I would say.